Johnny Ward is standing by in Ballybrit. Good morning to you, Johnny.
Morning, Owen. How are you?
Very well. So Ruby Walsh, he's back. We were chatting about him yesterday, whether or not he would come back to winning ways, and sure enough, he did it.
Yeah, and well-named Easy Game won the first race yesterday for Ruby. You know, he hadn't been seen since Cheltenham. He's had a terrible time of it with injuries, and this was probably a nice race for him to start back in. A horse that jumps really well, and it was very straightforward for Ruby. He just put the horse prominent in the race. As I said, he jumped quite cleanly and he just held on the run-in. And it was interesting afterwards. He got a very good reception from the Galway crowd. I think they appreciate, you know, that maybe Ruby isn't going to be around forever, and we have to cherish him when he's there. And I remember speaking to Willie Mullins afterwards and saying, would Ruby be a bit more selective with his rides now? And Willie's response was, you know, I'll be a bit more selective for him. So you could probably see that he's going to use him a little bit, maybe more sparingly, use him for the better rides like the one yesterday, an Easy Game, and maybe less so on sort of the bad handicap horses or whatever. But not that Willie has too many of them, but certainly you just hope that Ruby gets a good run of it with injury. Now, Rachel Blackmore is the leading rider at the moment, and I think the title race could be quite open this season. But, you know, to have Ruby back was something I think that Galway fans definitely cherished yesterday.
Yeah, like when it comes to the selective riding then, is it more going to be a feature of Ruby Walsh's career now, or this is just for a temporary solution until he's back and fully fit? No,
I think this will be it. You know, Ruby's in his late 30s. You know, for a jump jockey, you are kind of nearing the end at that stage. You know, not that many jump jockeys can ride into their 40s to any great degree of success. Paul Carberry did it, but he was limited enough in terms of what he could actually do because of the injuries he sustained. And even Tony McCoy, you know, he probably pulled out at what he deemed to be the right time. You know, these lads have a hell of a lot of war wounds, and they certainly have bought the T-shirt in terms of injuries. And, you know, Ruby has had shocking injuries in the past 12 months alone. So he will probably mind himself a bit and, you know, be conscious of the future that he has after racing. As he said yesterday, his 4-year-old daughter said to him on the way to the races, you know, just don't break your leg today, Daddy.
That's one hell of a line to hear, isn't it, before going racing, going to do your day job. You mentioned Rachel Blackmore there a moment ago. You mentioned her as well yesterday. She is obviously leading jockey at the moment. Would you make her favourite to be champion jockey at the end of the season?
I'd say favourite would probably be a little bit optimistic because, you know, with Davy Russell kind of to kick into gear yet, I suppose, and then you have like Paul Townend and Ruby coming back. It'll be difficult for Rachel, but at the same time, she's racked up so many rides. I think she's either the most used jockey or second most used in Ireland. I think she might even be the most used, and she's been used by all these like top connections, namely Jigginstown, Willie Mullins, and various others. And she's had quite a nice lead, and she'll be hoping for a decent Galway. But she certainly has a chance. While I wouldn't make her favourite, I don't think there'd be a more popular winner. Not just because, you know, I heard Andy Lee talking about, you know, difference between women's and men's boxing there and ever. In racing, it's not just the fact that Rachel's a female rider or whatever. It's just the fact that she's come from an amateur kind of background, from out of the blue, really. She just made a big success of it, but mainly through hard work and talent, you know, and she would have a chance. And it'll be a hell of a story in Punchestown if she rocks up at the Punchestown Festival in April, leading the title by 1 or 2 at that stage, because everyone will definitely be racking in behind her.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just a quick last word then on last night's racing. A 1-2 for Mullins in the amateur derby. Would that have been the standout result?
Definitely, yeah. Eurodale winning for Aubrey McMahon. You know, Patrick Mullins was on in this very studio that you're sitting in. He was on a couple of weeks ago saying that he really wanted to win the big race in the Monday night for amateurs. It has such a history. His father won it. And Limini, for most of the race, looked like she was going to deliver it for him. But just the same as last year, Aubrey McMahon riding for his father just basically produced Eurodale to pounce on the running and win going away. And I was briefly talking to Aubrey after the last race because he was riding again for his dad, a horse for Ted Walsh, and the horse kind of pretty much jumped a little tape going across the track, and, you know, very unceremoniously he ended up, the jockey ended up on his backside, and he had all grass stains to prove it afterwards. The horse was withdrawn, and, you know, he just had to laugh and say that's the highs and lows of racing. But for him, for the rise that Aubrey gets to win the GPT, as it used to be known, 2 years in a row, is really, it's almost like winning the lotto twice. And the smile on his face certainly was one of the memories of day one. But Patrick, it's just gotten away in him again.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to ask you about from yesterday's racing was Dennis Hogan. Just like watching on TV throughout the day, he obviously popped up a couple of times, and in the race that he had 3 horses in, one of his horses won, but he was riding as a jockey in the horse that finished third, I think. Johnny, like, this is an incredible situation that he's in. Like, is this commonplace in modern racing where you've got people who are trying to double job as a jockey and as a trainer?
No, it's probably about as commonplace as player managers really now. They're not common at all. And Galway United, we have one in Alan Murphy, but he's kind of coming off the bench, and it just doesn't. I've spoken to a few guys who are nearing the end of their career, and they're like, it's just you just can't do it anymore. It's too difficult, and it's obviously very difficult for trainers. But I think Dennis had 6 horses in that race yesterday, and what was most notable was Barry Doherty was actually riding the winner, Storm Rising, and JP McManus had 2 horses in the race. So that reflects the changing kind of relationship between Barry and JP McManus. But I thought that was quite a heartwarming victory as well. But Dennis was a big Tipperary hurling fan, so any little boost he can get at this stage of the championship will definitely help. But a winner at Galway, he's an excellent trainer. If you ever want to send a horse to someone and you live in the Tipperary, Cloughjordan region in general, Dennis, great lad to deal with, and he has fun for his owners at the race, and to have a first and third in a competitive handicap hurdle on day one is happy days for him.
What about the owners that own the horses that Dennis Hogan isn't riding in a particular race? Because surely that's just indicative of Dennis Hogan's own opinion on the horses, and he's basically saying to those owners, listen, your horse isn't as good as another horse that I'm training.
Yeah, well, he rode Golden Poet, I think, which was 14-1, and Storm Rising was 10-1. Now, Dennis would probably argue that Barry Geraghty is a better jockey than him as well. But, I mean, if you're an owner and you've... Willie Mullins is an amazingly adept at kind of keeping his owners happy when he has loads of them, basically entered in the one race. Now, he usually doesn't run loads of them, but sometimes he does. And as an owner, you want to run at the Galway Festival. And if you finish third at Galway, it's not finishing first, but you're in the winner's enclosure afterwards. You're in third place. You're just enjoying the buzz of having a runner at Galway. And a lot of it is about the journey rather than the actual destination as well. Because from my perspective of being involved in horses down the years, the crack that you have leading up to the race meeting is almost more fun than the actual race itself, and there's so much dilemmas and debate about who will ride and where the horse will finish, what's the best price and all that, and then the whole Galway experience itself is a blur. So I don't think the owners would particularly mind Dennis spreading his talents around and getting what was nearly a 1-2 in Galway. He would have been the other trainer apart from Willie if he'd had that 1-2, but he had a first and third, and there was a great buzz there yesterday. There's 20,000 people there, and people just appreciate being involved.
Yeah, and it's going to hot up as the week goes on as well. Today's racing then, Johnny, the 5:20, the novice hurdle there is the feature.
Yeah, it might be hotting up, but if you can see here out there, that's how grim it is right now in Salt Hill. So it's hotting up maybe in terms of action, but not in terms of the weather. And
how is that going to affect things?
It's Galway's having been from Galway. The west of Ireland is crazy in terms of you can get 4 seasons in a day, and I would expect that the weather could well change. I think it's not going to be quite like this all day, but it certainly will affect the crowd a little bit. It will affect the ground. Some of the horses I fancied, like one of my fancies, was Gusty Rocky in the 5:55. I'd be very worried about the ground for him now. But the feature race is the race that Riven Light won last year, and that's the Galway Mile, now sponsored by Colm Quinn, who sponsors many of the races today. This is going to be an intriguing race. Gerlines won this before 5 years ago with Brendan Bracken. He's one of the previous winners who rocks up in the race. But I think Inscribe, his stablemate, who's ridden by Colin Keane, he's just nice and progressive. He will enjoy the soft ground and has a very good chance. With 120 grand prize money here, you can see why it's such a popular race. Fully subscribed, raiders over from Britain as well to run in it, and it's going to be an interesting tactical day for riders, I feel, with the ground just easing a bit because we've had plenty of rain this morning.
Yeah, definitely. Now, every day this week, Johnny, you're taking our €100 weekly charity bet from thetote.com, and you're putting €20 a day on the play spot. So you've got more selections for us today. It was a tough start for you though yesterday.
It was, yeah. I spoke to Joe Hennessy from the Tote. So I think just to educate people, maybe yesterday I went for one selection race. This day and henceforth we'll go for a little bit more than that, just to make it more practical. So today we have 16 basic cross selections, so it's going to work out at a €1.25 stake. So you're going to be talking in race 1 we're going to go number 3, race 2 we're going to go 3 and 6, and then in race 3 and 4 I'm taking a little bit of a gamble here but going just for one selection. Race 3 I'm going for 6, that's Hermosa, trained by Aidan O'Brien, who'd be probably the good thing of the day, I think. And then race 4, number 9, Ger Lyons horse. Now, in race 5, we're going to go for 4 selections, 7, 11, 12, 16, and then 6 and 8 in race 6. So they're my selections, and hopefully it'll work out. But we still have plenty of chances before the week is out. And the new tote building in Galway yesterday, I thought looked absolutely spectacular. They've done a really good job on it, and it was really, really busy, And hopefully we might get the play spot up today, but it's still a long way to go in Galway.
Good stuff, Johnny. Anything else to look out for today?
I would be very sweet on a horse Pat Fahey trains. I think will absolutely love the ground today. And Pat, of course, is a Galway man, albeit stationed in Carlow. Would love a winner in Galway. Stormy Bell, Kevin Manning, just a draw in 2, I think, in the 840 is going to be really, really helpful to this horse. And Ace of Diamonds trained by Dermot Well. Dermot Well, we didn't mention him. He'd a nondescript start of the week, really. He had a few relatively fancied runners, nothing placed, so he'll be hoping for a lot better today. And I'll just get the time for Ace of Diamonds here. The 8:10. I think this horse under Oshinor is excellent each way value at around 7-1. So Stormy Bell, not unlike the weather this morning, and Ace of Diamonds will be my 2 main selections.
Good stuff, Johnny. Thanks a million for that. Hopefully they come through. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully it clears up for you a little bit later on, and we'll chat to you tomorrow.
Thanks a million, Owen.
Johnny Ward there with us every day from Ballybrit at the Galway races. Jotting down a couple of tips there, Andy?
I have them down. They're in the book.
We'll see you.
What's his record like?
Pretty good. He's still on the show. We haven't ditched him post Cheltenham, so
he's very informative, very knowledgeable.
No, he is.
Engaging,
he knows his stuff anyway, or at least he sounds like he knows his stuff anyway. Not too many of us to fact check it.